we've never had better maintenance, better equipment in the game, and it's flat. So we're always told, well, we can't take a little distance here, or we can't do this or that because it'll not grow the game. Well, the game has had this chance with this amazing. We've got better service, we've got better clubs, we've got better maintenance, and it's flat. So why is that?
We always talk about growing the game. Yeah, we're talking about rules changes or things that don't really matter to people who are not involved in the game. They want to have a relaxed dress code. They want to have music on the golf course. They want to feel welcomed. They don't care how fast the green is rolling. They just want to go out and have a good time with their buddies. And so we spend so much time, like this whole discussion, it's interesting to us because we are so heavily involved within golf. But think about someone else who's never played before. Right over their heads, they don't care and they don't feel welcome, they don't understand it. And now it's like with the rules changes and the ball and everything, let's just make something that's already difficult and hard to understand even more difficult and harder to explain to them. It doesn't make sense and it's not easy. We need to really strip it back and talk about what the amateur golfers want. Let's talk about that. What do they need and what do they want? Because they're the people who are going to be coming into the game, and that's how we really truly grow the game. And people who always say, let's grow the game, they don't want to grow the game. They just want to keep the game exactly how it is for themselves. And so it's really frustrating to try to make all these changes for the better, but they're always resisting it. So we spend all this time talking about things that don't actually matter to grow the game.
Yeah.
So Paige brings up the amateur golfers and the livelihoods of so many of us in the golf business are reliant upon amateur golf.
Yes.
The average golfers, the folks that are coming here to Myrtle Beach and playing golf in their hometown. And in this group, we can't really agree on much. And probably we could say that maybe about the national associations. But it brings to mind, who is in charge of golf at the grassroots level? Who is paying attention or asking those questions as you're asking, or the distance debate as it relates to amateurs, or the rules as it relates to participation? Who's keeping track of that? Who's in charge of that?
That's the problem, is the people at the top want to keep it the way it is, and they don't want to make changes. And so I think that's why people are so resistant to make the change. And so they say, let's grow the game because it sounds great, and it seems like they're making progress, but they're not actually doing anything to make changes. You see it, I see it mostly because my focus is on social media. And there are people who maybe like golf, but they're not obsessed with golf. And a lot of people who follow me are not golfers per se. And they are livid over the rules. They don't understand them. They don't understand why golf is the way it is. And it seems that a lot of people seem to agree on the same things. So how is it not coming from the top and going down? Like, how are they not thinking of this stuff? Like, we just covered so many things. You would think that these people who are running golf, the CEOs, would be smart enough to figure this out, but something's missing. So it's either that they don't understand it or they just don't want change, and I think that's what it is.
Are we asking the right questions, or who are we asking the questions of?
Your question was who's in charge, and coming off of what you said there, Paige, you got to look at the mission statement of the organizing bodies. If you look at the USGA, their job is basically the rules of golf and conducting their championships. If you look at the PGA Tour, that's like slow play is a big debate. The tour players are playing slow. Well, the PGA Tour's mission isn't to grow the game; it's to provide playing opportunities for the players.
Well, and entertainment.
Right, and entertainment. What people don't realize, PGA Tour is such a good product because it hits its time windows on Saturday and Sunday. They've got all this data with the current pace of play issues. They've got all this data of overtime, how long it takes to play in this day with these weather conditions. They're not in the business of bringing people to the game. You've got the PGA of America.
And they shouldn't say it, though. That's the problem, is that they're saying they're trying to grow the game, and this is what's helping the game, and it's not. So they need to be transparent about what they're doing.
Yep. So if you look at mission statements, Augusta National has stepped up big, obviously running the Masters, but they've also embraced the responsibility the game away from that golf term. I think Augusta's doing wonderful things in golf. If you look at bringing women,
outside areas though of Augusta, it's like, are they really giving back and doing what they need to like actually grow the game?
Well,
you really honestly think about it, and like you're honest with yourself.
Well, let me ask you this
about
question:
what they're doing.
what does growing the game mean to you?
I think it's getting people into the game who have never even thought about it,
So introduction into the game.
Exactly.
So if you look at all the studies, we are introducing more people to the game of golf than we've ever introduced to the game of golf before. We're not keeping people in the game.
Because they're not welcomed. I think I see a different view because I am a 25-year-old woman. I mean, let's just look around for a second. I think it's hard to see the outside or like what other people feel when you don't deal with that every single day. So of course I don't feel welcomed because of the fact that I'm a woman, and I have to think about all these other things that you guys don't even have to think twice about. And so I have a different view on growing the game and feeling welcomed and inclusive. I don't think golf is inclusive because of the way I've been treated. And so I have a different view, and I think a lot of other people feel the same way that I do if they don't fit the mold of what people think the golfer is.
Are people out there talking to amateur golfers to find out this information? Is there a national group? You know, everybody's in silos, right? The Tour, the USGA, you know, a Callaway, right? Everybody's looking at, you know, obviously there's been consolidation over the years, so, you know, equipment companies can react a certain way, golf ball companies, apparel companies. The number of golf courses we have is we have an oversupply situation, and that's not necessarily anybody's fault at the national level, but who's looking at that game from a national standpoint? Asking amateur golfers, asking, you know, impressions about distance, rules.
I don't think anybody.
access.
I don't think anybody.
Is somebody
looks at it.
paying
I mean,
attention
you
to
know,
it
maybe
at that
the
level?
PGA of America should. You know, the USGA doesn't. I mean, you know, they do their little surveys and, you know, try to get the survey to come out however they want it to come out.
This echo chamber.
Yeah, I mean, they get 30,000 people to respond, you know, out of 25 million golfers, and think that's a good response. I don't think they ask people. They don't come here to Myrtle Beach and like see what real golfers are doing. They are at their country clubs in the Northeast or whatever. And
wouldn't they tell you that's not their job?
Yeah.
That their job is to be stewards of
Because
the...
golf is
I don't know what
honestly
it
it's
is.
thriving.
Yeah.
Golf is thriving and it's doing well. The PGA Tour is doing well. They have no reason to be concerned, but you have to look at the future and what's going to happen and how things are changing, and if golf is really going to be as popular when, say, Tiger's not playing anymore. Like, who's kind of that young person? I feel like Tiger has driven it because he's connected to so many other people outside of the golf demographic.
It's a big problem. There's a lot of people that they're not going to watch golf unless Tiger's playing or unless Phil is playing. Maybe a few others are in that category. But once you get outside of 5 or 6 players, there's nobody out there that's driving viewership.
Right.
And don't make the assumption, though, that driving viewership is growing the game of golf.
No.
Yeah.
Because the rounds of golf that are being played now are far less than they were before Tiger showed up. Certainly in the 95, 96 range, there were many more rounds going on. There's been a lot of things that have affected the rounds of golf that are being played, and I don't necessarily think that we should look to the PGA Tour to grow the game of golf. Maybe spread the game, get more people watching the game,